out to the fence. Good evening, good evening. Guys, give me 1 second while we go start the live on the Facebook group. See if it works this week. Doesn't need much because remember last time it team what? Yeah, that is. We don't need that. You come sit over here if you want to come look at everybody.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's so weird.
Right. There's no.
What are you doing?
No, there's no blowing going on.
Starting the Facebook group.
What? Oh, no, it's not earned his hearing aid.
Oh.
From a different angle. I couldn't get it to go the other day. But I tried.
It's not working. It just does little circles.
Yeah, that's what it did for us.
Looks like we're at a camp with all the wooden structure. How is everyone doing this evening? Amazing. We don't have 100 non-muters. We have a bunch of naughty non-muters. We only have one naughty person tonight. Oh, nope, they muted themselves. I'm seeing it happen. Got some water. We got baths happening with no video. We have all kinds of good sounds. We have people with phones ringing in the background. Sean McLean, you naughty person, you. All right, guys, we're going to be getting started in just a minute. Send out any last-minute texts to all your team. Let them know. God knows what's going to happen tonight. What kind of nonsense, what kind of craziness these people might speak. I'm joking. I'm going to behave. I'm going to behave, I promise.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
What's up? Let me see if I can get this Facebook Live going. It's probably not going to work. Facebook has some kind of challenge, and it is not working.
Yeah, I think it's because they're going to develop their own Zoom platform.
Will?
Yeah, within Facebook. Yeah.
Really?
It always phases out anything third party independent. They'll phase it out.
Got it. There you go. So let's get started, guys. All right, because we have some naughty non-muters. Naughty non-muters every week. It's so fun. Guys, again, we always joke about it, but every week we have multiple calls. We have the Monday call. We have the opportunity calls. We have our Saturday morning training. And anytime we jump on any calls, we want to try to practice as business owners. I know many people haven't used this kind of platform. We joke around and make fun when people do unmute. But let's work on being very cognizant of making sure that our phones are not unmuted, because hearing you yell at your kids, especially when there's profanity and stuff, definitely can throw ADD Chris off, as well as change the dynamic of the call, to say the least. So with that being said, guys, we've been talking a lot about actually quite a few things with all this craziness going on. And We watch the world that we know turning into something different, where people are starting to be afraid to be around each other. And I mean, Jill told me that she went to the grocery store yesterday, and it was the first time it felt semi-normal. She said there was only a few people with masks on versus everyone wearing masks. But it's been really interesting just watching people in general. And I'm not going to go in and talk about this the whole meeting. And if you don't believe what I'm going to talk about, you know, I'm sorry. But I'm not telling you to feel a certain way. See, he's like so not social distancing, but you know,
I am.
I'm protected.
There's no virus can come through.
Right.
This.
I'm protected.
I can.
So
I'm not guaranteeing it though. And
this is not to joke about. I mean, there's serious stuff going on. There are people that are getting sick and all that stuff. So I want to be very. Oh my God, I'm so bad. I don't want to make light of you know the fact that people are being affected by this. Yet at the same time, we also have to pay attention that anytime there's any kind of challenge out there, whether it be the Great Depression or any kind of financial things that happen, it's also a time of great opportunity. And it's a time that many people are going to capitalize on the same thing that some people are going to use as this is why their life is terrible, and this is why everything is over, this is why everything is, you know, oh my gosh, I can't because, versus I must because, right? So there's a lot of people right now that are at home that no longer have an income, that no longer have any money coming into their house other than, oh my gosh, some of these non-muters are unmutable even when I press the button. Let me do the mute all again and see if that works. So what I'm sharing is that in times of great challenge also comes time of great opportunity. And what makes that a great opportunity versus a great challenge is the way that you think about it. It's the way that you perceive, it's the way that you receive, it's the way that you interpret whatever happens in your life. It's the way that you deal with it. You know, Jim Rohn says it's not the winds, but it's the set of your sail. The same wind blows on us all. We're all dealing with the same challenges. We're all dealing with the same adversities. We're all dealing with the same thing. But it's the way that we set our sail. It's the way that we deal with what we're dealing with. It's the way that we, oh my gosh, I'm killing me. The way that we deal with the challenges that we encounter in our life is going to dictate where we are. And, you know, through this process, I mean, there has been a lot of, not like it's really changed things a whole lot, you know, because I'm always at home. But, you know, many people went from having jobs and being somewhere every single day to being at home. And it's funny as you're watching, you know, people with the memes and all this stuff and the crazy face, another day at home, or just like there's all kinds of funny memes and stuff. Are they called memes or memes or whatever? I don't even know how to say memes. Right. So I don't even know how to say that stuff, but there's all these funny memes talking about it, you know, kid's face, and I'm seeing kid videos and I mean, there's some crazy stuff going on. Right. And it's funny because most people have never encountered being home with their spouse every day. Mm-hmm. Or being home with their kids every day. And for some people, look at Lauren wanting to beat her husband. But it's the way that, guys, like this could be something terrible, or it could be something that could bring you closer together. It could be, you know, I mean, let's face it, years and years ago, it's been now years and years and years ago, you know, both parents didn't work. And you had someone home with the kids and all that stuff. And the kids were actually raised by their parents. Remember that? Wow, that was crazy. But nowadays, the kids are raised by the school system. So a lot of the belief systems are based on, when you really look at where the school system came from, it was designed to create good soldiers and good workers. I mean, that's just the way that it is. If you read the book, Rich Kid, Smart Kid by Robert Kiyosaki, and he talks about how the school system was modeled after a Prussian system that was designed to model people into obedient, workers. Yep. And back in the early 1900s, most people were self-employed. And then when factories and the Industrial Revolution came out, they're like, we have all this work and we don't have workers. So we need workers. I mean, think about it. Like some of you all, your grandparents or your great-grandparents, their education was like 4th grade or something low, but many of these people were wealthy people because they knew how to work. And what has happened is we now have been conditioned that if you want to be successful, you have to go to school. And then when you go to school, you need the better grades you get, the better job that you can get. Well, then you finish high school, then you're taught to go to college. What college are you going to go to and all this stuff? And then basically we're taught, the better the grades that you get, the better the job that you're going to get. But this is what I want to share with you. The super successful, the richest people in our world don't teach their kids how they don't teach their kids necessarily to go to school. What they teach them is how to read a resume so they can hire people, because many times it's the C students that are hiring the A students or sometimes the D students. And the reason why that is because those D students were told they're never going to amount to anything and they'll never be able to go get a good job. So what do? They go start a business. And then they're hiring all the A kids. I mean, guys, this is called real life, right? So we're in just high school, 14,000 hours, we're being conditioned. We're being taught how to stand in line, how to basically don't talk out of turn. Don't do this, don't do that, don't all this other stuff. Do you know that a child hears no 5,000 times by the age 5? I mean, they're told over and over, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Don't talk to strangers. And then we wonder why people have such a weird deal joining network marketing, right? Don't talk to strangers. Don't take money from people. All these different things have conditioned the way that people act. And guys, in business, you have to learn how to think out of the box. So like there's two sides of what we do, guys. And what's special about our company is that we have been so intentional about creating messaging that resonates with the masses, that resonates with the 80%ers. And what are the 80%ers? 80%ers are people that normally might not be looking for a business. They like to consume. And in fact, most of our population are called consumers because that's what we do. We just consume, 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 right? And it's the people that produce are the ones that make the big money. So when you look at, there's another way to look at it. 80% are consumers, 20% are producers. And it's funny, you can take the 20%ers, like you've heard the saying, you could take a millionaire and take their money away, and they'll go out and produce another $1 million. But if someone wins the lottery, they will blow through that money, and it'll ruin their life. It'll absolutely ruin their life because they don't know how to handle it. Because they weren't a millionaire, they had $1 million. And they were consumers. So what they do? They just bought, and the money's gone. They don't know what to do now. So guys, as business owners, we have to start thinking a little different. So this is called Mindset Monday. So look, we have a system that resonates with the masses. And there are different things and different avenues that every single person on this call, I don't care what your background is. We have some people that are like, We have some older people that don't use Facebook. They don't use social media. They don't know how to necessarily use that. Well, you have to have a model that'll work for those people too. You have to have a model for the person that's going to go talk to people and run into people. Now the 3-foot rule doesn't work like it used to, right? Because people are like 6 foot away. It's so funny. I'm watching a friend of mine sit in a yard talking to some neighbors, and they're like 15 foot apart, and he's sitting in the middle of the yard. I'm like, we are in bizarro world right now. I mean, this is crazy, right? But this is the thing. We have to be able to have and shift and do our business, and that's why we talk about majors and minors. You'll hear some people talking about coal market. Some people are talking about warm market. Guys, when I got started in the industry, there wasn't social media. There was make a list of every person you know and itemize that list and go through it. And we had a star system, and we went through the stars. We called it 4 stars. So 1 was, do they have the money? Do they have the money to join either the product or the business, right? Do they have good people skills might be another star. I can't remember what all the stars are, but there were different things that we rated our list. And it's so funny. I'm going to break this down into, for all of us, this is something that everyone can relate to, because some of you are like, make a list. What are you talking about? I don't know how to do all that. Like, they go on their phone, and they're like, I don't know who to call, and they have 5,000 names, and they're like, I've talked to everybody. I talked to 2 people, and they said, no, this business doesn't work. People are funny. So we're talking about a rating system, and I want every single one of you all to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. You are a 5. So everyone's a 5. Oh, I see you shaking your head no, Lauren. Everyone's a 5. Everyone is a 5, and so so this is the way you have to look at it. If there's more successful people than you on this planet, then you're not a 10. I don't care. I mean, unless you're the top 10 people in the world, you're a 5. So y'all just go with me. So we're rating our scale on a scale of 1 to 10. We're a 5. And what happens is most people, when they get started in this kind of business, they want to go to what's comfortable. They want to go to what seems easy. So what happens is, if we're a 5, who do we go and talk to? We are talking to 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, and then you end up with people that you're on the phone and like somebody's texting you you're texting your teammate about a 3-way call, and you're like, they don't have the money. Help me handle this objection. Like, guys, if we're talking to people that are broke, busted, disgusted, it might be a little hard to build your business. I was there when we got started. But see, I might have been broke, but I wasn't broken. And poor. No, but poor means passing over opportunities regularly. So I wouldn't say.
I think poor just means you have a lack of money. Broke means
broke is broken, right? I don't know. But at any rate, there's all kinds of little sayings we can do, even analogies on broken. But so I'm sharing this because there's a deal. People get started in this business, and now they're running a business, by the way. You guys are running a business. So yes, our message attracts the 80%. Oh, y'all see, I'm going to jump all over the place. I'll bring it back. Our message attracts the 80%ers. But if you want to keep thinking like an 80%er, and you want to keep doing what the 80%ers do, 80% are broke. So if you want to take your business to the next level, you have to start thinking different. Go do the numbers. Income of 65-year-old people. And you will realize that most people are flat broke at 65 and can barely make it, and their family members are taking care of them. So guys, if you don't want to be in that position, you have to start thinking different. So to tie back in, guys, we talk about our message resonates with the 80%, but and we do that, but the 20%ers say that, you know what, if the 80%ers can do this, then I can totally rock this thing out. The 15%ers and 5%ers, they're going to win it no matter what they do. It doesn't matter. You just put them in anything because they're like that millionaire mind, right? You put them in something, they're just going to go win. No matter what it is, they're going to go win. But every single one of you all, and I share this coming from a place of experience. I was a horseshoer. Now, the good thing is my dad was a business owner, that he ran businesses, and I watched him go up and I watched him be broke, but he always rebounded and would win again. The economy changed or whatever, if things went down, boom, he would reinvent himself and start another business and figure it all out. So my dream growing up was to run my dad's business. And sometimes things happen for the right reason. And his last business went down, and basically I had to figure out what I was going to do. And I ended up as a horseshoer. And luckily, the guy that I mentored under, he taught me some philosophies. And this guy was so busy. He had all these things. The guy built aircraft from scratch. And he was a president of the Experimental Aircraft Association, president of this club and that club and this and whatever. And we had a crazy workload, and he did all these things. And I was like, how in the world do you have time to do all these things? And he said, Chris, in life, you have time for whatever you make important. And the thing is that 80%ers, unfortunately, what they make most important is Bachelor, or this show, or that show, and that, and all these things, and they're not making what's important is what their dreams are. In fact, most people haven't even given themselves permission to dream. Many people have religious background. You'll hear me talk about God. You'll hear me talk about, God knows what will come out of my mouth by the end of this call. And you'll hear me talk about spirituality and things like that, but what I am not is a religious person. And the reason why I say that is because I believe religion is man's way to control through spirituality. That's just my belief system. You don't have to believe in what I believe. I believe Jesus died for our sins and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is I'm not a religious person, because in religion, there's all this guilt and all these other things, and that he died for our sins, so where we get to start over, so where we don't have to beat ourselves up and we don't have to go through all that stuff. And I'm sharing this because I'm talking to people, and in dreams saying, I know I just went off on another tangent, but in dreams and goals, I've had religious people tell me, well, you know, money isn't everything. You know, money doesn't make you happy. All these things that we've heard over and over and over, right? But then we start to talk about the fact that, well, I don't need a house like that. And I don't need a house like that. Oh, well, you know, that person, do you know how many people you can help with, you know, with how much that costs and all that stuff? And in the Bible, it says that I have come so you can have life and live it more abundantly. It doesn't say so where you can live broke. And when you read and you talk about, how do you think Jesus traveled around? Wealthy people funded his travels. I mean, that's just a reality. People funded him to do what he did. And the bottom line is if you're broke, you can't help anybody. How you can't help yourself? How the hell are you going to help anybody else? So you have to start thinking different. You have to start changing your mindset. You have to start thinking from a place of abundance. We can have everything. It says that we're supposed to give our children's children an inheritance. Well, what the hell is that? Oh, you know, money isn't everything. When he's talking about abundance, he's talking about, you know, about the way that you live your life and the way that you feel. No. How are you going to give an inheritance of the way that you feel? No, it's about leaving nations. I will leave you the nations for it as inheritance. It's because we're supposed to be wealthy. Why are those stories talking about the talents? And remember the story of the talents? And when the one person buried it, look, guys, I'm not claiming to be a biblical scholar, and I'll probably screw up the stories, but you get the drift. The bottom line is the ones that took that and turned it into more were the ones that basically got the most attention for what they did. And I'm saying most attention, but basically they were blessed. My point is, guys, you have to start thinking different. You have to start dreaming again. You have to start believing that you were designed for greatness. And guys, all these, you like even the stuff that we did around the house, like, look, after being flat broke, December of 2017, $56 left in our account. And there was a point where my wife and I, Jill, we had to talk about, like, she was like controlling everything, like, don't spend this, and like afraid to spend any money because of where we came from. I remember sitting there going, you know, in the grocery store, and what can we get and what can't we get when we went through that time. But the thing is that, and when you talk about tithing and all that, the more you give, the more you get. And so the thing is that when we're giving to people and we're pouring into people, guys, if you help enough people get what you want, you can have whatever you want. You can have everything. And it's funny, like, how are you going to attract people? And I know I'm not going back into religious, but the thing is that if you are someone that talks about, and guys, by the way, I'm sitting next to someone that literally sold a big house and all that stuff to go in the mission field in Honduras and basically live in a little shack that's smaller than this porch, right? So, you know, I'm not saying that you have to have all the lavish stuff and all that other crap to be happy. And I believe that you have to figure out what makes you happy and what's important to you. But what I want to share is that if you are settling in your dreams, if you are settling for what is possible because you have a lack mentality, which I believe it's a spirit of lack. I believe that it's the enemy doesn't want us to be wealthy. He doesn't want us to have greatness, doesn't want us to have a life of abundance, because then we can impact more people. I know you want to say something here.
Yeah, keep going.
So the thing is that I believe that we can have anything that we want, as long as it's coming from the right spirit, right? As long as it's not coming from a place of, you know, look at what I have, look how wonderful I am, and all that other kind of stuff. So, like, there's a balance, and this is where I started all off. There's a balance of having a message that resonates with the 80%, but you also have to be able to pour belief in what's possible into the 20%, or you're going to lose them. Does that make sense? So there's a side where, guys, if Ricky and I, like, y'all haven't even seen pictures of like Ian's house and stuff like that, or I mean, Ricky, you might see some videos or whatever stuff that's going on, but guys, none of the stuff that has happened for people in this team has been boastful or look at me and look at what we did and all that other kind of stuff. But there's a point where you have to pour belief in what's possible for people. Like, why the hell would anybody want to follow you if you're broke and if you're not winning and you're not basically whatever? People need direction and need someone not only to believe in them, but they need to believe in something. And if we're not living a life of abundance in many different ways, and abundance is different for everyone, but why in the world would anybody want to follow you or be like you if you're not living the life that they would? My dad said, don't ever take advice from anybody more screwed up than you. Like, many people are taking money advice from broke people. They're taking advice on relationships from people that have crappy relationships, right? And the bottom line is you are the combined average of the 5 people you hang out with most. So Mindset Monday, even though it's ranting, and a bunch of, you're going to have people go all over or me, go all over the place. Like, guys, it comes from, I just feel this, I don't even know what to call it, but where I just have to share certain things because I believe that there's a lot of things that are holding the people back. There's belief systems that are holding us back. And it's funny that I do it too. I have belief systems that will hold me back, and I have to recognize and have an awareness to what it is. Self-sabotaging mechanisms where I'll start to do certain things to sabotage my success. Guys, people are addicted to feelings. They are addicted to self-sabotage. They are addicted to feeling a certain way. So, for instance, faith. Like, oh, you got to have faith and belief that things are going to happen. So what will happen is people will self-sabotage themselves from creating the greatness, because if they get what it is that they say that they want, that they have faith in, then there's nothing to have faith in anymore. So they will literally like self-sabotage themselves, because if they get what they say that they want, then that feeling of looking towards, oh, one day, they won't have that feeling anymore. And part of it comes because they haven't given themselves permission to think to the next level. The difference between the minorly successful and the majorly successful is a mindset. It's just a shift, and it's just a little bit more. It's just a little bit more. So it comes from, you have to start thinking bigger. You're not dreaming big enough. You're not giving yourself permission on what's possible. And guys, we were talking about this earlier. We're talking about the boat that we were in, and to buy that boat brand new right now is roughly $200,000. And there's another newer model that is the same boat, but it has more, like, guys, the stuff this thing has is ridiculous, and it's around $300,000 for a freaking boat. It's stupid. I'm saying it's stupid because, listen, that's enough awareness. When we say that's ridiculous money, stupid money, it's stupid, well, you just blocked your blessing right there. It's amazing. This boat is absolutely amazing, the stuff that it has. I mean, it has all these things. See, that was the thing catching.
It's stupid from the perception right now. But if you made $200 million a year, it'd be a drop in the bucket.
Exactly.
You're like, well, if it's stupid not to buy it because my family enjoys it, why don't we just go get a $300,000 boat? No big deal.
I'm going to have this boat, by the way. I'm just not going to go buy it new. I'm going to buy it used, but I will have the Paragon. Go look it up. Nautique Paragon. This thing, the tower that we pull off the rope, it's telescoping. You press a button, the whole tower goes up.
If you're a wakeboarder and your belief system is in wakeboarding, then this
other
is the
people
God
like
of
this
all
is,
boats.
Yeah, right. And other people are like, that's so ridiculous. Why would anybody want something like that? Look, I get it, guys. But the point is that the thing is if you're making $100,000 a month, I mean, that's 3 months of your salary. Most people finance this kind of stuff for 20 years. So my point is what if you just start thinking different? What if you're someday, basically, what if what you make in a year is what you make in a month?
What if you, for those of you that read the scriptures in that old antique book, what if you actually read the whole thing? You're just talking about faith. And I think one reason why people don't carry that out is because they just read the faith part, but they don't read what comes afterwards, right? Like, you have to do, action word, do, that's an action word. You have to do what you believe you're having faith in. So you can't just have faith. You have to carry out action based on your faith. That's how we know that it's evident in your life that you actually have faith. If you're not doing the action to prove to us that you actually believe it, not that you have anything to prove to me, but I'm just saying in anything in your life. If you're telling your kids, listen, you got to live this way. It's just the way I believe. I have faith that it's the right way. But they're not seeing you live that way, they're not going to do it because they don't believe, they don't have faith that you truly have the faith because you're not walking it out. You're not taking the action. But we're so quick to go, well, I just have faith. Really? Show me. Like, you have faith that you can create $1,000 income with your side gig? Then pick the phone up and call some people and share some coffee. Like, if that's your faith. Or you telling me your faith is that you signed up in the side gig and the $1,000 starts to show up next month. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to have action, right? So that's part of it. I think people pick and choose like what they want to hear. Malachi 3 says, God says, try me and see if I do not give it back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. He said, hey, dog, you don't believe? Try me. Think about that for a second. How many people actually carries it out? How many people actually try them? How many people? So we wonder, even, and I don't want to turn this religious, but I'm just, hey, let's just be real.
There's a difference between godly and religious. There's a difference.
Let's just be real for a second. We wonder, even within the church, we wonder why there are some that are just broke, they could barely brush their teeth, and there's other that's thriving. I'll tell you one quick story. There was a guy I used to do business with, and he ended up screwing us out of almost $6,000 worth of money. So I don't do business with him anymore. But I called a pastor friend of mine that plays golf with this guy. And I'm like, and by the way, this guy's in the network marketing profession. And he's owned 30 or 40 different types of businesses, puts people in business left and right. Everything he touches turns to gold. And he's as crooked as they come. The dude will stab you in the back as soon as you turn your head. Now, he's part of a group of 3 or 4 other people that founded a church that now has churches all over the southeast of the U.S., but that doesn't make him any more godly than whatever, right? Just because you had the money to help found a church. Here's the point. I called a pastor friend of mine, and I said, you know this guy? And he said, yeah. And I said, how do you play golf with him? He said, what do you mean? I show up and I play golf. I said, you know he's as crooked as ever. And and then the pastor kind of laughs. And I said, dude, here's my question. What I don't understand is, now we own a landscape and irrigation business, lawn maintenance, the whole nine. We're killing it in the Florida sun. 21 years we've been doing this. My wife works out there with me every day. So has my children. We're killing it out here. Like, I don't understand how somebody like him just eases right into life. Everything turns into gold. And everybody in town knows he's a crook. And my pastor friend laughed and he said, Sean, are you open to the idea that if you build businesses based on godly principles, it doesn't matter if you're a believer or not, the business will thrive because God's principles never change. And when I started looking at how this guy built his businesses and the way he founded them, the way he set them up, it's absolutely true, guys. So as Christians, we look at one person and we go, why are they prospering more than I am? Well, you may believe, but have you actually set the foundation of your life or the foundation of your business on those beliefs? Have you actually done it? Oh, you got faith. You got immense faith. I got faith. Oh, you got faith that one day Jesus is going to come back if you're a believer. But are you prepared? Are you looking? Are you watching? He tells us to prepare and watch. As a pregnant woman would be preparing a room, the bassinet, the paint. They clean everything in the house. Like, what do you do when you're preparing for success, when you're preparing to have a baby? What do you do? What do you women, what do you do? What have you done? Like, everything in the house is going to be spotless before you go to the hospital to have that baby. That room, all the baby stuff's going to be ready. Are you doing the same for your business? Well, I have faith. This time, honey, we signed up in one of those things. This time it's going to work. I have faith. But you don't pick the phone up. You're not sharing it.
So when we say that and we talk about belief, your actions are a reflection of your belief system. Your actions are a reflection of what you believe, because if you believe that what you're doing brings value to other people, then you would make damn sure that you're going out and sharing it with every person you come in contact with. You would make sure that people know what you're doing. And that's why, like, my messaging friends of mine through Facebook as they're doing these blitzes and stuff is I'm reaching out to friends and I'm basically saying, hey, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this sooner. And I'm literally gone, and here, I'll read you what I sent because I don't know exactly how I said it, but and every person I've sent it to so far, they were like, sure, wanting, information. And it's simple. It's basically, it was like, hey, Ava, I'm sorry I did not mention this sooner, yet with all that's going on, I've been focused and productive in my home business. Would you be open to taking a look at what I'm doing and let me know if you can think of anyone who would like to be happier or make money from home? If not, no big deal. And I've sent that out to multiple friends and not one person yet, and I haven't sent it out to hundreds, so I want to be clear, but no one is like, defriended me or any other kind of negative thing from that. In fact, they're like, well, what is it exactly? And I'm just literally saying, hey, do you drink coffee? They say yes, and I'm basically saying, send me your address and send them samples and letting the sample do a lot of the work. So I have a little business in there, but I'm also leading other friends. I'm just like, dude, do you drink coffee? If so, send me your address. I want to send you something special. And I'm just basically just doing activity. And some of it might be great, some of it might not. And some of you all want to be very clear. If your team's not doing that, that's a part of it. It's a little minor of a minor. That's not the major, right? We have multiple different sides of the business.
It's not the end all.
That's not all you do, right? And so I don't want to hear, well, I sent out exactly what Chris said and my business isn't working. Well, guys, look, everyone is a little bit different, right? Some people have relationships where they can just call up a friend and say, pull out your credit card. And, well, what is it? Just pull out your credit card. Lauren's laughing because she probably does this. And basically, pull out your credit card. You got to order this. And people will just do it. Other people, you know, are going to do a little bit something different. Another person might do whatever. And then Tony's like, time to join our blitz. Yeah. But guys, the point is there's a bunch of different ways to work the business. There's the attraction marketing, which I'm a firm believer of.
Me too.
But the thing is that you have to be yourself. So let's just say, for instance, we have a 65-year-old couple that don't do social media. And then you've been building your business 100% social media. And then you bring in Sue and Mary, who are in their 60s. But they have a network of people that they're friends with, that are close with them, that love them, respect them, trust them. And basically you're like, well, we do social media. You got to make this post, and this is what we do, and this is all we do. Well, they're done. They're gone. And they could have built the biggest team out there. So back to the 1 through 10. Y'all like, oh, my God, he left that area.
Well, real quick, you know what works the most in this industry? You know, like Chris mentioned the message he sent out, and, you know, you just gave another example. You know what works the best? 100%, hands down. You know what works the best? What you believe works the best. And I'm going to give you the number one social media tip you're ever going to get. Whatever you're doing on social media should mimic what you're doing in real life. So if you're that social butterfly in real life, I like that. I never, anyhow, I like that one. If you're that social butterfly that, like, let's say you're in a big city, not like me, I'm in a town of 12,000. I'm in New Orleans. This is kind of whack. Like, there's people everywhere. But if you're in a big city, or we have traveled an hour and a half to Jacksonville, Florida, and found networking groups. And we would drive an hour and a half to be at a networking event that lasted maybe an hour and a half to meet other crazy people like ourselves that were there to network, right? If you're that social butterfly, that's absolutely no different than using Facebook or Instagram stories to reach out to influencers and have conversations. Absolutely no different. So how you live in real life off of social is how you live your social. It's how people know you. If you've never been that social butterfly and all of a sudden you're sending them messages to influencers and you're fumbling around your words and you don't know how to speak because you're not sharp on them skills yet, it will show up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So if you're the guy in real life that maybe you want to go at a slower pace and you want to show up and have coffee with somebody, you know, maybe 4 days a week, you set time aside, you show up, you have a cup of coffee, you introduce the happy coffee. As you're putting it in your cup, your friend asks what it is. Oh, would you like to try it? Sure, Bob. You put it in Bob's cup and you do it slow. That's your cup of tea. Then your social media should be the same way. You shouldn't just become an alien or a weirdo overnight and, you know, you got 20 friends on Facebook and you just beat them all up in 20 minutes. Right? Like, it makes sense?
Yep. So it's funny. So like
1 through 10.
Like, so I'm going to use Melissa Lucas as an example. She does these like really amazing posts and talking about her kids and her lifestyle and all that other kind of stuff. Can y'all imagine me like doing a post, copying her post and like trying to be like this home mom type? I mean, guys, weird. Rule number 1, be normal. Like, I did try to copy a couple of her posts and I was like trying to change it to make it mine. I got like nobody. Like, in fact, my friends were like, what in the hell happened to this dude? Like, what in the hell? So guys, you got to be you. So whatever is you and whoever you are is who you need to be. Yep. So and let's close with this. On a scale of 1 to 10, you are a 5. If you want to build a business and you want to build it fast, you want to focus in on attracting the 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. If you were going to build or you were going to go into battle, do you want a general that's a 1 or do you want a general that's a 10 to run the platoon? You want a 10. You want to go after the best of the best. And so if anybody that looks at you as they are more successful than you, or you look up to them, is a 6 and above. And anybody that you look where you're more successful than them, or they may look up to you, is a 5 and below. Now, does that mean don't talk to the 5s and below? No. It just means that if I was going to basically really focus on building a business, I want to basically focus in on the people that are the top of the top, the most sharp, successful people that I know. And you might use an indirect approach with those people versus a direct approach. You might talk to someone that is a 5 and whatever. You go straight to, hey, do you keep an open mind when it comes to business? Where the 10, you might say, hey, John, I know you're super successful. I know that you've done so many amazing things. Can you do me a favor and give me your opinion on something? And share the coffee with them. Hey, I'm doing a beta test. I want to get you. I know that you're successful. You know a lot of incredible people. Can you do me a favor? Try the coffee and let me know if you could think of anybody that might be open to whatever, or might be open to a business, or might be whatever. But you'd use the indirect. Hey, I need your help. And in the 5s and below, you're going to say, hey, I have something important I want to show you. But the people that are more successful, you might want to use, you don't want to go to a 10 and say, hey, I'm going to show you how to make money. And they're sitting there, you're driving a Yugo, and they're driving a Mercedes. Like, doesn't make sense, right? Like, how are you going to show me how to make money? I'm more successful than you. But you can ask their opinion. So with that being said, guys, I just wanted to be very clear about that, because so many people are spending their times with 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1, and they wonder why, the person can't afford, the person this, the person that. Step up your game, guys. We have something that resonates with the masses. Just think about our president of the company is a $100 million earner in this industry, literally. And he's the president of our company because he believes in what we do. And those are the type of people that are literally attracted to what we do. And this is the crazy thing. Those people don't join a business because they need to make extra money. They do it because they love building stuff and they love a challenge. And successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. So they are willing to step out. They are willing. They're not the person that says, oh, I'm too busy on whatever. They find a way, because people find a way to do whatever's important for them. So with that being said, guys, I want to reiterate, it's time to raise your vision. It's time to unmuters, naughty. So guys, you guys are capable of anything. This team every single month brings in millions of dollars in revenue. And every single one of you all, if you got one customer or one promoter, or you're drinking the coffee yourself, you helped with that. So you might not think that you're good enough. You might not think that you're capable of greatness. But guys, greatness in this industry comes from getting a large group of people to do a few simple things over and over and over again. So if you can make $500 a month, if you can get 25 customers, and just customers, you suck at recruiting, and then you find Mary who says, I need an extra 500, you show her how to do the same thing. And then Mary shows somebody else. And then Bob shows somebody else. And Dave shows somebody else. Guys, the building block is helping people get an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. And if you can do it, it's possible for you, it's possible for somebody else. And if you can lay a brick, you can build a city. So guys, it's time to raise your vision. It's time to believe in what is possible. And I'm going to tell you all that 2 years ago, it was hard for me to see going to the ATM and being able to pull the ticket out or the receipt, which I didn't want to look at before, and seeing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 behind the number. It's the most amazing thing. And again, I'm not saying that to impress anyone, but to impress upon you, if a horseshoer from Louisiana that has no college experience whatsoever, that basically was just smart enough to say, you know what, Don't ask a plumber how to be a doctor. Find somebody that wants to do what you, find somebody that does what you do what they do, and you'll have what they have. That's all we did, guys. And every single one of you all have the exact same associations. Every single one of you all are connected to people that are making the kind of money that people dream of. Listen and watch and do what they did, and you will get what they got. Everybody have an awesome night. Take care, guys. Love you all. I hope you got value out of tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you
Chris.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Great call.
Thank you, Chris.
That's just
Thank you.
you know, they don't want to.
Thank you, Chris.
You got a good argument, but you know, just by how they, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Go on in there.
Right.